welcome back to On Trial here on Trots TV. We're going to delve into some of the trials that were run in New South Wales over the past week or so and see if we can find a few winners. The first one we're going to start with is a trial from Menangle last week, and this was a trial number 3. Now, the trial was won by Bling It On. Not going to highlight that horse. He was very impressive in what he did, and he's set for a big campaign. There's no doubt about that. But the horse that I want to highlight is a horse called Better More. Now, Better More finishes 4th in the trial, but is a really good effort. Bling It On works to the front in the trial in the early stages. He dominates throughout. But Better More, trained by Kerry Ann Turner, was driven by Robbie Morris in the trial, settles 5 back on the inside after drawing barrier 1. Keep in mind, Better More's just a C3 pacer, and he hasn't raced since late July. What I like most about him in the straight is that he looks to be travelling really strongly. He follows up on the back of Reward for Effort. He's never asked to extend. And now the overall time for the trial was 1:51.8. Better More was beaten 30 metres, so he's gone low 1:54s himself. I clock Better More running home over the final 800 metres in 56.8. So I think you can follow him with some confidence, and Better More is scheduled to run at Bathurst on Wednesday. So off the second row there, he might be worth following. So Better More out of the trials at Menangle last Tuesday. The second trialer I want to highlight is a horse that trialled at Newcastle last week, and that was 7 Scotches, won trial number 3. Now, 7 Scotches resumed from an 18-month spell at Newcastle recently and did a few things wrong. Was broke and was sent back to the trials as a result. Now, he competed in a heat of the Menangle Country Series final, and it was beaten a very long way, but after making the error, there was no support for him in the betting, so there is a little bit of a question mark on him. I thought this trial was really good. He sat behind the leader for the majority of the trip. He pulled out in the straight and had to contend with the second horse drifting up the straight and crowding 7 Scotches. He didn't lose too much momentum in the straight, but hit the line really strongly. He has won a race in his short career. It was actually a win before that very long 18-month spell. Just keep an eye on him because he might bob up at one of the midweek Newcastle meetings and go around at big odds. And on the back of this trial performance, I think he's going to be very competitive in the right grade. For the record, 7 Scotches ran the mile in 1:58.5. He ran home in 57.9 and up the straight in 29.1. So that was 7 Scotches out of the Newcastle trials last week. And the final trial I'm going to highlight today on trial is the Wagga trial. And there was only the one last week. This is Francisco de Gore. Really impressive trial performance. Just disregard the overall time and mile rate for this trial. They went 2:2.7. And he did get a very easy time of it in front, but really what's important here is how easily he does it. He raced in a heat of the Breeders' Crown behind My Kiwi Mate. He then raced in a repechage of the Breeders' Crown behind Menengate, and he goes on to win this trial by 40 metres. He runs up the straight in 27.7. He's under a very strong hold from Corey Bell, and I would think he's going to win some nice races when he does get a little bit of experience under his belt. Sean Snudden is taking a couple of horses to Ugara for the Canola Cup. Francisco de Gore is definitely one of them, so make sure you watch out for him in the heats on a Sunday, and with a good draw in the final, I think he's going to be very competitive. So that's Francisco de Gore out of the Wagga trial last week. So the 3 horses going on trial this week: Better More, who will race at Bathurst this Wednesday. We've also got 7 Scotches. Keep an eye out for him when you see him at Newcastle or around that region, and make sure you have something on Francisco de Gore in the heats of the Canola Cup on Sunday. That's on trial for another week. Back again next week to highlight some of the trial performers from, or some of the good trial performers from around the state.